Hello YouTube viewers and Transformers fans of all ages, this is the TFN Geek coming to you with what will hopefully be a quick video review of Transformers Generations Titans Return Leader Class Overlord, with Headmasters as Time Master partner Dreadnaut. So yes, Overlord is the last Leader Class action figure in the Titans Return toy line to be released at mass retail, and some people have been saying that Overlord might be a preview figure for the Transformers Power of the Primes toy line because of a gimmick that he has, which I will show off when we get to Overlord's robot mode. So here's just a quick look at Overlord's box. Here he is, nice artwork of him mid-decapitation. He has 4 modes, so he's not a triple changer, he's a quadruple changer. On the top of the box you have a Decepticon logo right there. My background's following me. Here, same on the side of the box, the flame purple Decepticon logo. Here on this side of the box you get some nice artwork of Overlord, and one thing that on the artwork that I found somewhat interesting is right here on Overlord's pelvis. He has a Decepticon logo, and what's really there is a orange plastic wheel for his tank. So, coming around here to the back of the box, here is Overlord in his robot mode, his base mode, and his 2 vehicle modes of a jet and a tank. So, some people have been making the joke that Overlord is a duocon, even though he's not. He was actually the leader of the Decepticon Power Masters in the Transformers Generation 1 franchise, so that's somewhat of the nostalgia Overlord has going for him. He's basically the Decepticon opposite of Power Master Optimus Prime. So in case anyone's wondering why Megatron or Galvatron were never given Power Master Transformers toys, there was no need for them because Takara Tomy decided to create a brand new Decepticon character, Overlord. Alright, and here on the side of the box, Overlord's advertises as other Transformers toys also available, each sold separately, of course. Titan Master Ramhorn, Deluxe Class Misfire, Voyager Class Blitzwing, and because Overlord's the solitary Leader Class action figure in his wave of the Titans Return toy line, which is Wave 5, he advertises as another Leader Class action figure also available for purchase. His mold mate, Sky Shadow, or Black Shadow if you want to call him by his G1 name. I'll probably calling this guy by his G1 name throughout the rest of the video because I prefer his G1 name than the new name that Hasbro gave him in the Generations toy line. And hopefully you can see that on the camera. Let me move the camera up. Sorry if the camera's wobbly, but if you can read through my poor video quality, there's Overlord's bio in 4 languages: English, Spanish, Portuguese, and I believe the 4th one is French. So now that we've taken a quick look at Overlord's box, let's take a brief look at Overlord's collector's card first before we get to Overlord himself. So there's his collector's card, nice artwork, same artwork used on his box. Flip the card around, get it right side up. And there for your viewing pleasure are Overlord's tech specs. So if you want to pause the video and read those yourself, you can. And just a quick look at Overlord's accessory pieces that do not directly interact with the toy itself. Here is his instruction sheet, and I have not opened this up. So let's get a brief look at Overlord, shall we? Let's. Alright, sorry for my brief moment of silence while I adjust these guys, but here is Overlord transformed into his 2 vehicles, and apparently part of Overlord's gimmick was that as a Power Master, he's such a large Transformer, or he was in the Generation 1 toy line, that Overlord, instead of transforming to just 1 vehicle, he had to split his body in half and transform into 2 separate vehicles. Now, that sounds a lot like the Duocons, which were Transformers characters that in order to transform into 2 vehicles at the same time, they had to split their bodies in half in order to successfully transform into 2 vehicles, so they were almost like the bridge between standard Transformers that only have 1 vehicle mode and triple changers that can successfully transform into 2 vehicle modes at will. So here's a close-up of Overlord's Jet. It's based off the SR-71 Blackbird, but it's more of a science fictional version. And I think it's really cool looking how it's primarily black with the white and purple engines on the sides of it. Here on the bottom, there's nothing special to the jet. You have the upper half of Overlord's torso, and Overlord does somewhat suffer visible head syndrome, but if you can turn his head around, you can at least hide his face, so that's not too bad. I hit the camera. Darn it. And you can fold up Overlord's landing gear if you so wish, and that's what stabilizes the jet when you have it on a flat surface. And then here's Overlord's tank. It's nothing new for anyone who has Titan's Return Sky Shadow. It's the same exact tank as Sky Shadow. There is one part that's different, and it's this part right here where the center wheel for the tank is located. It ends up being Overlord's robot mode pelvis, and so that's just the one part of the tank that's new molding from Sky Shadow. So 99.99% of the tank is the exact same as Sky Shadow. The only difference is the paint job. And the tank is primarily blue, some turquoise, and that's shown off when Overlord's transformed into his robot mode. The tank turret is white, and then the barrel of the tank is purple. Now, one thing that someone else who did a video review of Overlord pointed out was that all the parts on Overlord that are purple, such as the front tips of his jet engines, the jet tail fins, which these front pieces end up becoming Overlord's shoulder towers, and then the turret cannon for the tank, which ends up becoming Overlord's laser gun. All the parts on Overlord that are purple, they are not cast in purple plastic. They are, in fact, made out of black plastic and just painted over with purple paint. And there is some tiny spots on this one piece right here that becomes Overlord's shoulder tower, where the paint has already started to chip off. So yes, I can confirm that. It is true. Overlord does not have any plastic parts to him. All the parts on Overlord that are purple are just purple paint done over black plastic. So be careful with Titan's Return Overlord. He can experience paint scraping as time goes by. Now, one last feature Overlord has is for his two separate vehicle modes, is that just like Sky Shadow, you can connect the jet with the tank. There's two slots right here on the bottom of the tank turret, and they line up with little clips here on Overlord's chest panels. And so ideally what you do is you insert them into the sides of the tank turret, and ideally Overlord's combined vehicles are able to lock securely using those two tabs. And for a quick size comparison, here is Overlord next to his mold mate, Sky Shadow. Come on, stay together. Now, as you can see, as far as the combined vehicle modes of the jet sitting on top of the tank, Sky Shadow can pull it off successfully because there's a very stable peg that Sky Shadow plugs into on the center of the tank. But unfortunately for the Overlord, having these two side panels on here, the connection doesn't really work. So that's definitely one part where Sky Shadow is better than Overlord, is the connection of these combined vehicle modes. And one thing you can do, because the tanks on both these toys there's only one tiny part that's molded differently, and that doesn't affect the transformation. You can, if you so desire. Come on, plug in. As I was saying, you can so desire, if you want, switch the tanks or switch the jets, however way you want to look at it, between Sky Shadow and Overlord, so they can interact with each other, even though that is unintentional by Hasbro's part. So yes, when you get to robot mode, you can switch the tanks or the jets, however you want to look at it, around with each other, and so in robot mode, Overlord and Sky Shadow can put on each other's pants. So I think that adds play value to both of these toys. But yes, the connection for Overlord, Sky Shadow definitely did better than that. Now, the reason why I'm putting emphasis on who is better, Overlord or Sky Shadow, a lot of Transformers fans have made the argument that Sky Shadow is in fact a pre-tool transformer. This toy mold was originally designed with Overlord being the intended character for the mold all along, and then Overlord afterwards was repainted and retooled into Sky Shadow just to use the toy mold more than twice, and then in a clever marketing strategy, Hasbro released the afterthought character, or the second character created for the mold, first before the original intended character of the mold was released for the first time. I'm not even going to bother putting them back together. Say Sky Shadow off to the side for a moment. So yes, Overlord, in my opinion, I agree with my fellow Transformers fans that he is the character that the mold was originally designed for, and Sky Shadow was the repaint and retool, and because he was released first, Sky Shadow, I believe, is a pre-tool transformer, even though the term pre-tool officially does not even exist in the English dictionary as far as I'm aware of. Now I have to give a shout out to one of my fellow YouTubers. I should have pronounced his name, but on YouTube someone did an extensive video review of the original Transformers Generation 1 toy of Overlord, and they pointed out that the way Generation 1 Overlord transformed is that you could leave his two legs attached to the rest of him when you transformed into vehicle mode, and basically the two halves of the tank acted as rocket boosters for the jet mode, and so I will show that off here in a brief moment, see if I can get this tank cannon out without breaking it. Pause the video for a moment, I'll be back as soon as I can get this done. Alright, my apologies for that quick interruption, but as I said, all the parts on Overlord are purple, and hopefully you can see it right there on the handle of Overlord's laser gun, but the handle itself is even made out of purple paint, and as you can see, some of the paint has really just scratched off right now from me trying to force it all the way down into the bottom of its place as inside the tank turret. So if you do decide to transform Overlord into his tank mode, do not shove the laser gun all the way down, just leave it like that where there's a slight elevation to it, otherwise you're going to feel like you're going to break it when you try to remove it, and you will scrape the paint. So just be cautious when you insert Overlord's laser gun into any peg hole, because the barrel is purple paint, and that adds I believe, 0.5 millimeter of thickness to the handle, so this laser gun's handle is now literally a fraction of a millimeter too big for it to successfully slide in and out of any 5 millimeter peg hole. And now that the paint's scraped off, I'm actually realizing that Overlord's laser gun is not cast out of black plastic, it's actually cast in white plastic. So that's something to keep an eye out for yourself. So this sort of rocket booster mode I'm going to transform Overlord into. It's a fan mode, I made it up myself, but it's a bit reminiscent of a fan mode created for Generation 1 Overlord. And there's nothing too fancy to it. All you really do is, once you insert the tank into the back of Overlord's jet, you rotate the robot mode thighs so they're facing this position, and then what you do is you straighten everything out as much as you could. My apologies, I hit the pause button again by accident. But yes, take Overlord's laser gun, make sure everything's straightened out. And so here's Overlord in his fan-made rocket booster jet mode, and it's based off a fan mode that was created for the original Generation 1 Overlord toy. So yes, for those of you who are afraid you might lose the two individual vehicles that Overlord transforms into, and you don't like the look of Overlord's base mode, there is a vehicle that exists where you can leave both halves of Overlord's body attached to each other. And considering the fact that Overlord and most of the Transformers Generation 1 characters that were being created at the time Overlord was added to the Transformers franchise back in the year 1988, most of them transformed into science fictional looking vehicles. I think for considering the design of Overlord, it is a pretty nice looking spaceship, or set of rocket boosters for his jet mode. And then another thing you can do if you want, you can open up Overlord's robot mode feed. So if you want to have an opening that looks like jet fuel comes out of Overlord's back, then you can do that as well. But I don't know, it just looks like a very nice streamlined science fictional looking spaceship rocket jet. So let me know in the comment sections what you think about this fan-made vehicle mode I came up with for Overlord. Now, moving on from fan mode to official modes, I will very briefly, quickly, hopefully, get Overlord transformed into his base mode for you. Now, Overlord is somewhat little more fiddly to transform into his base mode than Sky Shadow in my opinion, but I think that could just be that I don't really transform Sky Shadow into his base mode, and I don't really like the base mode, is what I'm trying to say. It's my least favorite mode for both versions of this toy. Pause the video for a second. Okay, and so I forgot the most important step to transforming Overlord into his base mode. You rotate it on a rotation joint located right in there, and that'll get you successfully into Overlord's base mode. If you don't do that one step of that rotational joint, like right there, which here's what it looks like from. Here's what it looks like from the back. If you don't rotate that one joint, and you are going to have a nightmare of a problem transforming Overlord into his base mode. So get it transformed the way it's officially supposed to look. Get his legs rotated around. Now, if there's one minor gripe I have with Overlord, these parts of this uppermost part of Overlord's thigh, his upper leg, it ends up rubbing into the space that it occupies, so you literally have millimeters to have the proper clearance for Overlord's hip joints when you transform Overlord back and forth between all of his robot mode and his vehicle modes and his base mode. So that's just the real only major gripe I have with Overlord. And then another gripe I have with Overlord is that the last part of his final step of his base mode is to flip this platform out, and you can have a Titan Master walking there on the platform if you so desire. Then last thing you do is take the gun and put it right there. So there is Overlord in his base mode, and just like Sky Shadow, he has the same connector pegs that allow you to plug Overlord onto Trypticon or other leader class toys in the Titans Return toy line. And then this is the official mode now. On the back of Overlord's box, it shows that just like Sky Shadow, you're supposed to leave this half of the tank turret flipped up so you can have a Titan Master here inside the tank cockpit. But that's not mentioned in Overlord's instruction sheet. It's just in the official product photo of his base mode, which is on the back of his box. So it's all personal preference, but you can leaving it flipped down, that's actually more reminiscent of Generation 1 Overlord's base mode. And in fact, if you want to make Titans Return Overlord look more like his G1 counterpart, then what you can do is leave his legs angled outward at a 45-degree angle, roughly. And that makes Overlord's base mode look most like his G1 version. And for a quick size comparison, here is Overlord next to Sky Shadow's base mode. And because of that additional joint on Overlord, the base modes actually are located at different angles, so If you look closely, Sky Shadow's base mode, the bottom half of it, or the horizontal section is a better term to use, is longer than Overlord's, but then Overlord's vertical section is almost twice the size. Actually, it is twice the size of Sky Shadow's vertical section of the base mode. But yes, I think they're both pretty amazing looking, and like I said, you can, if you want to, fix this for a second. You can, if you want to, connect Overlord and Sky Shadow to each other, so you can have a very enormous looking Decepticon base mode. And it's so wide and it's so big and long, I can't get all of it on camera at once. Now, before I set Sky Shadow off to the side, one thing I forgot to point out was that right here on Sky Shadow, these little pieces right here, which in the jet modes I should have shown it off while they were still transforming into jets, but these little bits right here on Sky Shadow that are his jet mode tail fins, they are in fact the wings of Overlord's jet mode. And as far as I'm aware, for the jet half of Sky Shadow and Overlord, that's the only part they have between each other. So for the tanks, there's only one part that's different, and for the jets, it's the opposite. There's only one part that's the same. And yes, and so I will get Overlord transformed into robot mode for you. Set Sky Shadow off to the side. And so to go from base mode to Overlord's robot mode. Up a bit. And stay focused. I'm using my laptop's camera to do this. So first you straighten the base mode up. Move this laser gun. Get these panels flipped back up. And just a word of caution with flipping these two panels. These purple bits right here that keep the panels attached, they are very thin, and the pegs that they clip into are very strong, and so that's one part of Overlord that most definitely will break if you do not transform it slowly. So then you rotate this around, rotate the legs around so they're at this direction. You can do the same on the other side. Flip up Overlord's feet, put the connection pegs away. And so there's the lower half of Overlord, but coming up and zooming in from the top half to transform Overlord's arms, what you have to do is bring the arms out at the shoulders from his torso, and there are pegs that keep the shoulders attached. Pull down these lower arms, flip out his hands. Same thing over here on this side. Bring it out, flip down the hands. And one complaint I have about this one individual version of Overlord, or you probably saw it as the video went on, but the arms do not want to stay plugged up. So when you transform Overlord into his jet mode, that's one thing to be wary of. And then flip these wing fins down to the side and attach this top half. Pull up the landing gear, bring out this little gray peg right there above my thumb, and you attach it to Overlord's shoulder. You attach it to the left side shoulder, and the entire nose and cockpit section of Overlord's jet mode becomes an enormous shield that he wears on his arms. So it's almost the opposite of, it's almost like a mirror image of Megatron's fusion cannon. Instead of having it on his right side arm and it being a attack weapon, Overlord wears his on his left arm and it's a defensive weapon. Next thing you can do is put this back panel down and then rotate Overlord's head. You reveal his face, put his laser gun in his hand, bring the camera back so he's in full view. And there is Overlord transformed into his robot mode. Overlord, in my opinion, he is a amazing looking robot. And it's nice also to just get a brief close-up of Overlord's face. That's as close as I can get him to the camera. And oh man, this toy of Overlord, it's very reminiscent of how he looked in Transformers Super God Master Force. And even though it's only a fraction of the size of the Generation 1 Overlord toy, in my opinion, Overlord is, in fact, one of the must-haves of the Titans Return toy line. Don't like the fact that Transformers, you might have seen Transformers fans saying that Overlord is not as good as Sky Shadow. Now, when you don't compare Overlord to Sky Shadow, by himself, Overlord is a pretty amazing Transformers toy. Now, one of the main gimmicks Overlord has in his robot mode is that you open up these panels. They're the same panels that held the jet and the tank together. Overlord has two spaces in his robot mode chest that allow you to store Titan Master or Headmaster robots inside, and that's a gimmick that the original Generation 1 Overlord toy possessed. And a lot of people have been showing off this gimmick. I'm not going to show it off because it's a pain to get the Titan Masters as Headmasters out of Overlord's chest. Now, some people have said, whatever way you put the Headmasters in, forwards or backwards, this right here is about how much Overlord's chest doors will close when there's actually stuff inside. Now, some people have been saying that Overlord is it's because of this gimmick that I said earlier in the video, that some people are considering Overlord to be a preview toy for the Transformers Power of the Primes toy line, because some people have come to the conclusion that maybe Prime Masters, which are the names for the robots that are the same size as Titan Master robots in the Transformers Power of the Primes toy line, being released are going to be, and so that they'll be more compatible with Overlord's chest gimmick than Prime Masters. And this is the first time since I took Overlord's package that I've removed his Titan Master chest Headmaster partner Dreadnaut, so there's a close-up of Overlord's face sculpt. It's a pretty nice face. That grimace, it just looks very sinister and menacing in my opinion. And so here is Dreadnaut in his robot mode. Now, one thing I noticed is that Overlord, right here in the middle of his chest, he does have a slot, and it is, in fact, I noticed upon close inspection, it can fit it is about the same size peg as the foot peg on the back of a Titan Master, but for some reason Dreadnaut doesn't want to stay in there too well. So yes, you can, if you want, have another Headmaster / Titan Master / Prime Master robot dangling off of Overlord's chest. So I don't know if that means Overlord's going to be able to hold the matrices that are being given with Power of the Primes, Optimus Prime and Rodimus Prime, so that Overlord is trying to do what Galvatron did in the Transformers Generation 1 movie, where he has the Autobot Matrix of Leadership on his chest. I don't know if that's what that slot on Overlord's chest is for, but if it does turn out that's what it's for, then that would be a pretty cool little hideaway hidden gimmick that Hasbro gave Overlord. And once again, for one last size comparison with Sky Shadow / Black Shadow, here are the two of them standing side by side in robot mode. Move the camera back so I can try and get them both into full frame. There you are. Now, some people have pointed out that Sky Shadow is a fraction of an inch taller than Overlord, even without the nose of his jet mode. Even at the top of the head sculpt, Overlord is about 1 to 2 centimeters shorter than Sky Shadow is. So one thing you can do, some Transformers fans have pointed out, is you can, if you want, only half transform Overlord's feet like that and give him almost like a toe and heel spur foot design. And if you so desire to have Overlord be slightly taller than Sky Shadow at the robot mode head, then you can give Overlord that modified or only half transformed foot. And it does work. It does provide the half an inch height needed to make Overlord taller than Black Shadow or Sky Shadow. And as I said earlier in the video, one thing you can do with Overlord and Sky Shadow, I actually first saw this when I was browsing Google Images to see if anyone who had gotten an early copy of Overlord had done this, so I saw it in a picture instead of a video first. But because there's only one molded part on the tank/robot legs for Overlord and for Sky Shadow, you can switch them out. Just like in vehicle mode, you can switch the tanks out. Tanks out in robot mode, which are the legs. I gave Overlord the modified foot transformation, so he's taller than Sky Shadow again. But yes, you can, if you want to, give Sky Shadow and Overlord each other's pants end. They're not too happy about it right now. They want to fall over on me. But yes, so there's Overlord and Sky Shadow with each other's legs or pants on. I don't know why, but I just think Overlord can pass the purple pants / sorry, I just said purple. I meant to say black. Blech, stupid tongue of mine. As I was saying, I think Overlord can pass for having black legs instead of his blue ones, but since it's not quite him, get him switched back again. So yes, with his mold mate Sky Shadow, Overlord does have a lot of interactivity, but as I said earlier in the video, Overlord by himself as a standalone Transformers toy, he is pretty interactive. He has a lot of gimmicks and features. He does have some play value, and just like me, you can, if you want, give Overlord a fan-made vehicle mode. And yeah, despite any negativity that Transformers fans have seen, in the brief time that I've had Overlord out of his box and that I've owned him, he is an amazing Transformers toy. Now, with my purchase of Overlord, I only have 3 individual Titans Return products to have all of the Titans Return toys that were sold either exclusively on the internet or at mass retail in my Transformers collection, except the Titan Masters. So, with my purchase of Overlord, the only 3 Titans Return Transformers toys that I need to add to my Transformers collection that are not Titan Masters are Legends Class Cosmos, and I'm still on the fence about getting Cosmos, the Walgreens exclusive 2-pack of Wingspan and Cloudraker, and the Big Bag Toy Store exclusive Siege on Cybertron box set. So, once I get those 3 Transformers toys, I will have my Titans Return Transformers collection complete. At this time, I have no plans on getting Titans Return RC or Grotesque because they were toy convention exclusives, and because of the availability of those 2 toys, they're super expensive. But yes, for Leader Class toys, Overlord is it. I have all of the Titans Return Leader Class Transformers toys that were sold at mass retail. There's only 6 of them. There's Blaster, Power Master, Optimus Prime, Six Shot, and Soundwave are the other 4 besides Sky Shadow and Overlord. But yes, in my opinion, if you have the money, you have the time, and you have the desire to get Titans Return Overlord and add him to your Transformers collection, get him. Overlord, in my opinion, is in fact a must-have Transformers toy. And just to end the video, here once again is Overlord transformed into the fan-made rocket booster or spaceship mode that I came up with for him. I was inspired to make this by watching another video review on YouTube of Generation 1 Overlord. And yes, if you want to give Overlord a combined vehicle, you can do that for him. And now, when I first made this, I thought, where have I seen a spaceship that looks like this before? And then it occurred to me, oh yeah, it looks like a wonky version of the I-Wing Starfighter from Star Wars. Yeah, if you want Overlord to have an evil Y-Wing vehicle mode, you can do that. There's nothing too fancy to it, and it does look as though Overlord has 2 tank halves hanging off the back of his vehicle mode, but I think it works for Overlord. So thank you so much for watching. This has been the TFN Geek, and this has been a video review of Transformers Generations Titans Return Overlord. It is lengthier than I wanted it to be, but it just goes to show you there's a lot to say about Overlord as a Transformers character and as a toy in the Titans Return toy line. So please leave a comment in the comments section. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is the TF Fan Geek. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.